Welcome everyone to the EOS Fireside Chat for February 8th, 2023. We've got a great show today, of course. We're talking EOS Network Foundation joins the Blockchain Gaming Alliance. We're talking savings Msig has been approved. We're of course talking still about inter-blockchain communication. We got some nice content coming on that topic from Trimbot as well as Alcor Exchange. We're talking Pomelo Season 5 dates and Season 4 claims. We got a Defibox annual report to go over. We've got EOS featured in the Bitcoinist publication, and hat tip to the recaps from Lennie about the Eden Delegate commitments for this term. But before we get into that, let me tell you a bit about what EOS is all about. EOS is a layer 1 smart contract platform that is governed by its community and the only crypto network that had its foundation emerge organically from within the community years after the launch of the network. Last year, the EOS Network Foundation hit the ground running and established some much needed funding mechanisms for the community. Finally, longtime builders in the EOS ecosystem had access to funds to build the EOS projects they love through a variety of ENF funded initiatives, such as the EOS Recognition Grants, the Pomelo crowdfunding platform for public goods, the Direct Grant Framework for Open Source Development, the Eden Community Consensus Building Process. And by the way, all of these EOS funding opportunities, except the recognition grants, are still available today. So whether you're new to our community or have been us with years, we encourage crypto builders of all kinds, from content creators to developers, to take a look at the hashtag new EOS and find out how you can get funded while adding value to the EOS ecosystem. On top of all these great funding mechanisms the ENF put in place in 2022, the ENF also hired the best devs in the space and helped establish a strong technical foundation that is now supporting exciting projects that are in full bloom. Some solutions that were recommended as a result of the Blue Papers research series are now fully implemented, such as the Recover Plus framework that protects qualifying DeFi protocols and the Yield Plus program that boosts returns for a diversified range of DeFi protocols. Another big accomplishment last year was spearheaded by ENF was the successful forking of the B1 controlled EOSIO codebase to the now community controlled Antelope codebase. The Antelope coalition, composed of the EOS network, WAX, UX, and Telos networks, was also established and are now working together on protocol development and enabling new synergies such as inter-blockchain communication between all Antelope chains. In case it wasn't yet crystal clear, EOS is in the midst of an epic narrative reversal, and hashtag the new EOS has the potential to become one of the most legendary crypto redemption arc stories of our generation. My name is Stephane. I'm one of the co-founders of EOS Nation, currently a top-ranked block producers in the game, and I'm happy and honored to be your host for today. So thank you for joining everyone who's live on Discord. Thank you for tuning in, everyone who's tuning in on Twitter, on YouTube, live or on the replay. We appreciate you joining the show. We appreciate you being part of the community. Of course, we love to hear your comments, thoughts, questions, and reactions to the news of the week that we discuss. So please feel free to jump into the conversation at any point. Even if you don't want to join us on stage, you can still do your part to make this show as engaging as possible. Share some images in the chat. Spam those emoji reactions on Discord. And let's help Dave make this show visually appealing for everyone that's watching on YouTube and elsewhere. All right, so without further ado, let's get into it. First topic of discussion today is the very recent news that was announced just a few hours ago. EOS Network Foundation joins the Blockchain Gaming Alliance. Of course, GameFi is, being talked about more and more in the entire crypto space. Feels like that may be the next narrative that'll fuel the next crypto bull run. Of course, we had DeFi summer 2 years ago. We had NFT surge as well. Makes sense that GameFi could be the next big thing in crypto. So love to see ENF joining the Blockchain Gaming Alliance. And of course, EOS is already home to some of the most active GameFi products out there in the crypto space. Of course, I'm talking about Upland, specifically. But so I'm just gonna leave it there for the intro of this topic, and I'd like at this point to invite Julie from the ENF to maybe talk a bit more about this news and maybe the part that she played and what she thinks this means for EOS.
Hey, Stephane. Yeah, thanks for having me. I thought I might just start doing a little bit of a background on what the Blockchain Game Alliance is. So, first and foremost, it is a not-for-profit organization that's committed to promoting blockchain within the gaming industry. They are going into their 5th year in existence, so they are definitely been around for a couple years, which is great. They have 500 global members. They are represented in 50 countries. And they do have quite a few larger members as well. So we'll get the link. I'll throw the link into the chat in just a minute. And you can go online and see all of their members and where they are based. But really, the mission for the Blockchain Game Alliance is a couple things. One is they want to spread awareness around the blockchain technologies. They're looking to accelerate adoption to foster new ways to create, publish, and play. And then finally, they're looking to build a strong community to provide an open and inclusive platform to share knowledge and collaboration. They really have 4 main areas that they focus on. One, they do a lot of networking. They do research and reporting. They just had their annual report came out for 2022, and they've just hired actually some additional staff. So they're looking to beef that up to monthly reporting. So that'll be coming out in the coming months as well. And then they're also a large advocate for blockchain in the gaming industry. So we will actually be participating with them in a couple upcoming events. They'll be at, just for anybody that's on the call, they will be at NFT in Paris, which is coming up at the end of February. We will not have staff on site at that event, but they will have a booth at that event and be participating there. They also have a booth at the upcoming Game Developers Conference, which is in San Francisco. And we do have several staff from the ENF that will be heading out to that conference. So we're looking forward to not only meeting some of their staff at that event, but also making some more connections, doing some networking, and meeting some of the global members that'll be participating in that as well. They will also be at NFT NYC in mid-April. And then Consensus in Austin, Texas, which this year is April 26th to 28th. So we do definitely have a few staff that'll be around to meet, and looking forward really to getting to know the organization and how we can participate with them. There's also several ways that we can follow them. So they do have their Discord channel. They are, you can follow them on Twitter. And as I mentioned, their full members directory as well is on their website. But really looking forward to getting into the Alliance and getting much more familiar with the organization and participating with them not only at some of the events, but also through speaker series, some thought leadership pieces, and then again, just getting to know a lot of the industry stakeholders.
All right, that is wonderful. Thank you very much, Julie, for joining us today on the Fireside and giving us some more context about the Blockchain Gaming Alliance. Actually, quick question. Is it Blockchain Gaming Alliance or is it Blockchain Game Alliance? I've seen it kind of spelled out.
It is officially the Blockchain Game Alliance.
Okay, there we go. So officially the Blockchain Gaming Alliance. I've seen it Blockchain Gaming Alliance a lot. Either way, very cool, and looking forward to that association, being more and more active and relevant in the crypto space in the coming months and years. That's great. So I shared some links in the chat here, some Twitter updates from the Blockchain Game Alliance and from ENF, of course. We got Yana as well sharing a picture of some of the board members. That's great. And thanks to everyone else sharing funny pictures of antelopes and dags and dancing tutus from Mel. That's great. Love to see it, guys. All right. As always, every week for those of you that join us on the Fireside, you can claim your POP token in the POP bot chat. Make sure you do that before the end of the show to get your POP token. You can now mint your February raffle ticket as well. So that blend is up. Let me share the link for those of you who want to go convert 4 pop tokens into a raffle ticket. We also sent out prizes recently for the most recent raffle tickets from January and December. So check your accounts for some prizes. Those of you who are holding a December raffle ticket actually got even more fun prizes. You got some bonus NFTs from our December EOS holiday giveaway. So some cool artwork from Lars, from Stephane, and from Byron were distributed to our holders of these February raffle tickets. And who knows, maybe all holders of all raffle tickets are going to be eligible for more fun prizes this month. You never know. So always good idea to collect these community NFTs that we distribute for active members. You never know when you're going to get rewarded for holding them. All right, so I see here Glue Dog in the chat. Thanks for joining us, Glue Dog. I know it's very late for you and you're usually sleeping at this time, so we appreciate you showing up. Glue Dog's asking a question about EOS EVM and when it's going to launch. I haven't heard any updates on that in a little bit. I don't know, maybe I don't know if Zack or Eve has some extra information or maybe some alpha to share about that. Maybe not. But we gave it a try, Glue Dog.
Sorry, can you? I couldn't hear properly, and I'm guessing you're talking about something, me, because I just see my name in chat. Can you re-ask the question?
We're talking about people. Now it's just Glue Dog is in the chat here asking about the EOS EVM and when it's going to launch. So I know we're given
to the best of my knowledge. Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, we're still on track for mid to end March. We haven't set a date yet. And we're not going to be setting a date yet, but that is still the target. And from what I can tell, we're still on target to meet that target. We're still on track, to meet that target.
Awesome. Great. Thanks for that quick update, and thanks Glue Dog for that question. Of course, if you have questions, feel free to leave them in the voice chat. We're going to get to most of them. You can also fill out a community, a Google form for those of you who are maybe not able to join us live for the Fireside. You can fill out, this Google form, and we're going to get to these questions later on in the show. I'm going to share a link to that in just a bit here. All right, so moving on to our next topic of the day. Pretty big one, actually. I don't know if you guys have noticed. I don't know who's tracking Eve's account for these very significant Msigs that sometimes are submitted from his account. But there was a savings Msig that was approved just yesterday, I think it was, or maybe this morning. Either way, in something in the last 24 hours. So basically, quick little recap that I'm stealing from a post from the ENF. In 531 days since the first source of funds to establish a foundation were approved, the ENF has proven itself to not just be a formidable steward of the EOS network. It has now been showcased on-chain through the current means of consensus that the ENF is also an essential component of the network. And so this new Msig that was just passed, which I will let Eve talk a bit more about in just a bit, adds some new mechanisms and funding buckets that can be automated from the inflation of the network. So I'm just gonna leave it there actually, and just hand it over to Zack or Eve if they want to share more about this Msig, what it means, why it came about. Zack?
I'll talk. Yeah, I was just waiting to see if you jumped in. Yeah, so as you mentioned, I did the math yesterday. 531 days. So when the ENF first launched on August, it was approved September 25th, 2021. It was initially funded with August 25th. The first funding was late September. My bad. So whenever the ENF first launched, it was basically funded with an initial. So there were three components in the initial launch multi-sig. One, it was a transfer of legacy fees, so RAM fees and name auction fees, which were means of revenue for the network. At present, all of those fees flow into REX. So anyone staked in the REX gets those fees immediately. But for the first year or so, year or two of the network until REX launched, all of these legacy fees accumulated. So essentially, it was almost equivalent to a Series A funding round. So that was one piece of the launch multi-sig. And then the other component was turning on a 2% inflation. So going back to when the chain launched in the original white paper and the vision for EOS, if you'll recall, the chain launched with a 1% inflation as an incentive mechanism for the security of the network and the infrastructure of the network for block producers. And then there was a 4% designation for essentially everything else: community funding, grants. It was meant to be a worker proposal system. So over the years, multiple attempts to stand something like that up, also multiple attempts at foundations, but that's kind of separate. After a while, there were multiple token burns. And then eventually the inflation was turned off. So that's why this was such a significant milestone, I guess, when the ENF first launched, was it turned on this inflation. But that inflation accumulated in the EOSIO saving account. And the reason it did that is, one, it's hard coded in. All non-block producer inflation can only flow to the EOSIO saving account. And that particular account is governed, owned, active keys by the block producers. So because of that, even after turning the 2% inflationary drip on, the ENF didn't actually have access to those funds. The access to those funds has basically required top-ups. So there's been 3 separate top-ups on multiple. I'm sorry, I have the dates in front of me. I just lost my tab. There were three top-ups essentially over the last year and a half, where every time the ENF would do its job. Man, I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm getting attacked by a dog. I'm sorry. Well, I keep. Hold on.
All right, while we let Zack handle his wildlife problem, let me just jump in here. Keep going. You're good.
I was taking on the long version because I'm looking through the chat and there are some people who I don't know if they've been along for the entire ride. So essentially, when the ENF launched, it got an initial source of funds from the legacy fees. That was basically the initial proving ground. So in the first couple of months of the ENF, we launched the Blue Papers initiatives. We did the recognition grants. We funded Pomelo. We funded Eden. We did all of these things to kind of prove the value. And at this point, it's just Eve and I. And through those first couple of months, we were successful in showcasing, yes, the ENF does have value to the network. So after the first source of funds, which were legacy fees, were spent, then the ENF reached out to the BPs and proposed a multi-sig to top up the ENF treasury. So essentially, on 3 separate occasions, the ENF has done that. It's a manual process. So it requires every time the ENF requires funding, it must go back to the BPs, reach a 15 out of 21 consensus, funds transfer to the EOSIO.grants account, which is also owned by the block producers, but it does have an active key with a multi-sig on that, controlled by the ENF, as well as a 72-hour time delay. So essentially, the change that happened is that instead of the ENF having to put up a multi-sig proposal to the block producers every 3 or 4 months or so was the pattern we were in, now essentially the EOSIO.grants account can claim funds from the EOSIO.saving account. A smart contract was deployed to the EOSIO.saving account, and that is how the distributions are made. So that smart contract was created by Denny from EOS Nation, as well as Areg from the ENF. So essentially all it does is it distributes the inflation that flows into EOSIO.saving. And as its initial parameter, 100% of that inflation goes to the EOSIO.grants account, which is essentially the ENF treasury account. So I think you kind of hinted at it. It is a parameter. So you could add multiple accounts to that. They could have different distribution weights. But for the time being, in the initial version of it, it is essentially just automating what was already happening. So it's really not that much different than it was before, except for the fact that now the function and the service that the foundation provides to the network has essentially, I said essentially twice in the same sentence, it's become an integral part of the system. It is a part of the system just every bit as much as the block producers. It's just we serve different roles. The block producers run infrastructure, the block producers secure the network, the block producers manage the governance and all of the multi-sigs. But as far as being a funding body and a body to be stewards of the EOS network, as of about 12 hours ago or 15 hours ago, whenever the multi-sig passed, we are now, I would say, it's been showcased on-chain through the current means of consensus, as in that message you read, that the ENF is very much now a part of the system. And that was showcased by the overwhelming support from the block producers. We first brought this topic up on the January 6th Fireside Chat. We brought it up with all of you back then because we wanted to go through multiple rounds of feedback to see if anyone had any concerns or critiques about this initiative. There were literally zero. So it was overwhelming support from the block producers, and not even just the signatories behind the block producers. There's also certain block producers, I'll call it Defibox specifically. Defibox has a token-weighted governance mechanism for the box token holders that essentially pools their own token holders to determine whether or not they should sign a specific multi-sig on-chain. So it wasn't even just the EOS BPs who overwhelmingly supported this action. It was also even smaller DApp communities within the EOS community and ecosystem who overwhelmingly supported it with, I don't have the exact percentages in front of me, but it was in the high 90% yes, if not higher. So it's a huge accomplishment for the ENF. It's kind of just 1.5 years. It started with Eve, and he brought me along for the ride. And together, we've grown the organization to over 40 individuals, plus hundreds of contractors and partners throughout the ecosystem who work indirectly for the EOS network via the different pillars of funding, from Pomelo to Eden to direct grants to just contractor agreements. That we went from a system where there was only one way to earn income on the network, and that was through block production. Whether you're an infrastructure expert or a marketing expert or a community manager expert or a business expert, you had to run a block producer. That was the only means of achieving any kind of revenue from the network for creating value for the network. So that's been the biggest change. That was the gap. That was part of what the NF has fulfilled, on top of the being the real world representatives of the ENF. So having a point of contact for exchanges, for example, is a big initiative that we've been working hard on over the last few months, or not few years. Last few months really ramping up, though, with all of the profile changes that Winnie brought up, I think, a week or two ago on here. So I'm rambling. Huge milestone. Essentially, it just automates something that was already occurring. Every time, all 3 times that the ENF has reached out and proposed to the network itself, to the block producers, for previous funding top-ups, they've been approved relatively quickly because we have been showcasing the value that we bring to the network. We publish like very detailed. The last one was a 40-page quarterly report. We put everything on GitHub as far as open and transparent as possible. And the network showcased that it's essentially a critical part of it now. I mean, I think it was before, but now it's a little bit more official. And for a lot of people, it's just really doing what a lot of people already thought was happening. So ever since the earliest days of the ENF, a lot of people that I've seen trying to describe the mechanism of funding to the ENF have described it as inflation goes directly to the ENF. And previously we had to correct that because that was not true. But moving forward since yesterday, that is now true, that the ENF is directly receiving inflation from the network. Smart contract was deployed. It opens up new possibilities down the road in the future. But for right now, it's a big milestone. It showcases that all of the work that's been done has been appreciated, and that that work will continue to happen now. Not that it wasn't going to continue before, but now it's even more certain. Everything is much more certain for the future.
Yeah, that's a great point. The certainty this brings is really good, and I imagine it will bring confidence to investors. You know that the network has a foundation that is stable and funded for the long term. Another nice aspect of the smart contract that is deployed is that it doesn't mean that it only directs inflation to the ENF. It can direct it to various other groups as well if the block producers choose to do so. So, for example, in that tweet that I shared from Eve a few days ago, he mentions that maybe Yield Plus could, get a certain amount of inflation directed to it as an example of another type of project that could benefit from this new smart contract capability. If you guys were attending the Fireside, I think it was last week or the week before, we mentioned how the Yield Plus program has been very successful. We see EOS DeFi outperforming other layer 1 DeFis in the recent months. And so there was another top up added to the budget of the Yield Plus program. Well, then this new smart contract could allow, the network to decide, hey, let's allocate this amount of EOS every month, for Yield Plus, and other organizations or other projects that that the network would reach consensus on wanting to fund. So that's very cool. Yeah. Does anyone have comments on this from the crowd? Love to hear some reactions from you guys. I see you guys are busy in the chat talking about all sorts of things, sharing images. But yeah, if you guys have comments or feedback or questions, now would be a great time to bring those up. In the meantime, I'm going to congratulate Daniel Keys again for minting the first February raffle ticket. Congratulations to Daniel again, #1 minter. Shame on everyone else. Everyone else is just slow. Come on, next month.
I wasn't even trying, guys. Come on.
Again, Daniel winning the race, not even trying. Tony saying he's got no tokens. It's not a valid excuse, Tony. You can go on the market and buy some on the secondary market. They go for about 1 EOS each, I think, these pop tokens. And in my opinion, definitely worth to buy a couple if you're missing a couple to join the February raffle draw. You can buy pop tokens. Yeah, you can sell them. They're NFTs. You can sell them. You can buy them. You can trade them. You can burn them. You can blend them into February raffle tickets. Maybe other things down the line as well. All right. Okay, so in other Discord server news, I don't know if you guys noticed, but we had another 2,000 people join the server in the last week. Of course, not all of these people have actually joined the general chat and started chatting. We suspect there's some bots in there. But the reason I bring it up is because we had, before these recent surge in membership, we had, created the Road to 10K promo, which we would award prizes every time we reach a new 1,000 members in a server to people who are inviting members to the server via their personal invite links, which you can generate in the server settings on Discord here. So we've had to change this promo a bit. The prize pool that we announced, we're definitely going to respect that. We're going to definitely give that away to community members who help us grow the server. But instead of waiting to reach certain number milestones, what we're going to do is we're going to be handing out prizes every 2 months for the next 6 months, I think it is. So there's the 8,000 level, the 9,000 level, and the 10,000 level, which we had previously announced that we'd send prize. So we're just going to do that every 2 months. So definitely still worth it for you guys to create your own personal invite link. Share that on your platform, social media. If you got a popular site or whatever, put that link in there, and you can earn some nice prizes. Top prize is 50 EOS for the #1 refer, not too shabby at all. And then a lot of other EOS prizes, and of course NFT prizes as well for people who help us grow the server.
I pulled up a stat while you're talking. So I agree with you that there's no way we had thousands of real people join. So someone clearly sent some bots. But I did just look at the analytics of the activity in the server. So we almost have the Discord server is almost has superseded. So the EOS Discord is now larger than the legacy EOS Telegram group. So the legacy Telegram group has 10,759 members, which out of those, I'm sure a lot of people who don't talk. And now the Discord server has 12,421. So those are the vanity metrics. So what I looked at just now is how many people have actually posted a single message in the chat. So just even a single good morning or hello. And in the main EOS chat, only 87 people posted a message or spoke if they did a voice chat. Whereas the EOS Discord, as I'm looking at it right now, 255 in the last week have posted a message or spoke. And part of that is because not everyone probably looks, but there are a Korean and Chinese community here in the Discord. If you scroll down, I guess maybe I don't know what the permissions are set at these days. I see them as a moderator, but there are other language groups in this channel. So this is, as of whenever we pass that 10,000 member mark to pass the EOS Telegram group, this is the largest EOS community that exists now on this Discord.
That's great. Those are some surprising numbers. Almost three times as many people chatting in the server than on Telegram. That's awesome to see. Yana, you want to jump on here? Maybe explain a bit for the permission settings for these other channels. Can everyone see it? I know I can see them because I've got moderator permissions. But maybe Yana's not around. When she comes back, maybe she can give us some more insights. Oh, there she is.
Yeah, hello.
Hey, Yana.
Sorry, what was the question? I missed it.
The Korean and the Chinese communities in this Discord server. Can everyone see those channels? Can everyone post in those channels?
In the language specific, only if you have the language flag attached. So if you are a member, you see all the regular channels, the English ones, and additionally you need to attach the flag.
There you go. And you can do that in the Start Here channel, is that it?
Yeah, right.
There you go. So those of you who want to go check out these other communities, you can do that by attaching a flag to your account. That's great. Thanks, Yana.
You're welcome.
All right. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Glue Dog minted his February raffle tickets. Congratulations, sir. Zack also sharing some pictures of the key metrics. That's awesome. Glue Dog asks if he needs to do anything else to participate in the raffle. No, you don't need to do anything else, Glue Dog. You just mint your raffle ticket, and then on the first Wednesday of the new month is when I distribute prizes for these raffle ticket holders. So actually, the prize structure has changed a tiny bit for these raffles. Used to be a bunch of 10 EOS prizes. Now there's same amount of EOS prizes handed out, but there's one big winner of 50 EOS, a bunch of 10 EOS prizes. Everyone earns at least an NFT, some party crackers, all sorts of good stuff. Can you play? Zack asked how to mint a raffle ticket for noobs. Yes, good question, noob. Here we go. I will share the link again in the chat. Basically, you go to this website, you log in with your EOS account. You need pop tokens first. Exactly, you need 4 of them, and then you can just go click that blend button, and then the rest should be fairly straightforward. If you don't have any pop tokens, you can grab one every time on the Fireside chat. You can also grab one in other community events. So we've got EOS support. Guys at EOS Support, big shout out to them. They're doing great work. They helped us with the Lunar promo that we ran last month. They do their EOS Support giveaway show. They do a new show as well, EOS Synergy. Those who attend those shows can also earn pop tokens. You can earn some here. And then if we have other community members hosting EOS community events, reach out to me. Let me know about your event, and we're happy to give some pop token allocations for those events as well. Zack coming in clutch, sharing the blog article on how to earn pop tokens. Also a great way to explain, to understand what's going on. So Zack asked if it costs something to mint raffle tickets. Well, it costs 4 pop tokens. So you give up 4 pop tokens in exchange for getting 1 raffle ticket. But since the pop tokens, you can earn them for free, I would answer that no, there's actually no cost really in order to mint a raffle ticket. Oh, we got Yevon coming in with a free NFT, free hot spicy rare NFT claim link. Good luck to whoever clicks on that first. Hopefully it's not Daniel Keys. And yeah, actually talking about spicy rares, we had taken a couple of months off of minting the new spicy rares, but they're back. We minted 4 of them recently. So those of you holding party crackers, you can find some new fancy spicy rares in your party cracker prize pool, perhaps. Let me actually grab a quick screenshot here of these spicy rares. I think they look absolutely fantastic. Here, I'll share the link if you guys want to go check them out directly on Atomic Hub. You can go do that at the link I just shared. And then if not, I'm just going to take a little screenshot here and share what these latest spicy rares look like. Oh, Yevon. Yevon opened 50 crackers before I minted the new spicy rares. Yeah, that is sad. Yevon, I'm sorry for your loss. But there's other spicy rares that you can find in there. There's Pomelo NFTs in there. There's Boyd NFTs. There's actually 37 collections, I think. So a bunch of people who have done NFT collections on EOS kind of donated some to this prize pool. So, Party Cracker really, you never know what you're going to get. Some NFTs are extremely obscure from old collections that are inactive, but others are pretty cool. And the latest spicy rares here are pretty awesome. Definitely that last. So we modified a bit the naming convention. They used to just be called spicy rares. Now we're kind of calling them this a bit more descriptive on what, in our opinion, was a big event in EOS that month. So we can see here, Pomelo Season 3, that was in July. In August, we had the Antelope Protocol branding reveal. In September, we had the EOS Independence Day. In October, we had the EOS Roadshow. And so we'll be continuing to mint those November, December, January, coming soon. All right. Let me find my show notes here and we can keep the show going. All right. Let's talk inter-blockchain communication again. So we've been talking about it, I think on the last couple of firesides, but obviously this is really big news. You know, back in 2017, when I heard about EOS, one of the things that attracted me to EOS was the promise of inter-blockchain communication, connecting all of these, you know, EOSIO based networks, which are now Antelope based networks. And it's finally here, it's live on the mainnet. There's no trusted third party required with this interblockchain solution, which is quite unique in the entire crypto sphere. The IBC solution is integrated directly in the base layer of the EOS network, as well as the UX network right now. Telos and Wax are going to be coming online shortly as well. And this opens up a lot of possibilities for a lot of cool applications. Not only are current applications going to be looking to improve functionality through this, you know, through the IBC, but new applications can now be built from the ground up with this new technology and possibilities in mind. So that's pretty cool. Trimbot, one of our favorite EOS influencers, is back. He took a month break during December, but he came back in full force in January, and he recently wrote a nice article about IBC and how this is going to usher in a new era of collaboration. So I shared the link here in the chat, and basically I'm just going to give it a quick recap of what this talks, and it talks a lot about, you know, how there's a lot of tribalism in crypto, because a lot of networks feel that in order for them to be successful, they kind of have to attract users or apps from another one, which creates a lot of tribalism, a bit of toxicity mixed in there. Obviously, those of you EOS OGs who have been with us from the start had a taste of this in years past. There was some competition or friction between EOS and Telos and Wax and whatever, all these other chains that are all based on the same blockchain protocol, you know, now called Antelope. But before, when these networks were not as connected, it felt more tribalism. But now, with the Antelope Coalition bringing all of these networks together, working together on common development goals, that has helped a lot. We don't feel that tribalism, or I don't anymore anyways, between, you know, EOS, Telos, Wax, UX, Proton, and others, Ultra, all of these great networks that are all based on, you know, very similar or the same code base. IBC should, you know, bring these networks even closer together, and there's really no need for tribalism anymore. We're all really building the same big Antelope blockchain community. And so this article from Trimbot kind of highlights some of these things. So I think it's worth you guys checking out. He also published a couple more articles actually on his Substack on January 24th. The blockchain mythos, how stories shape the decentralized revolution, talking about epic tales of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the new EOS, of course. On January 6th, a couple days later, he published an article on liquidity and TVL, why EOS DeFi is growing. We've been talking a bit about this recently with Yield Plus program obviously being a great success. On January 31st, an article called Tokenization, the Future of Digital Assets. And then on February 1st, the new era of collaboration, inter-blockchain communication is a game changer. I'm gonna give a round of applause for Trimbot for producing great EOS content. I invited Trimbot on the show today to talk about this, but he wasn't available. But he said he would try to come on in the next few weeks. So hopefully we get to hear from Trimbot directly soon enough. All right, I see more people sharing NFTs, gifting NFTs in the chat. We got a fractally spicy rare from February 2022 given away by Tony. Very nice. Love to see it. Esteban asking when Glue Dog is going to be neutered. Yeah, that's a good question. Sure, a lot of people are wondering this. All right, back to business. Last week, actually, I teased that I will not be hosting the show next week. Actually, I'm taking a little small vacation. It's a staycation, actually. I'm going to be staying at home, but catching up on some things. Hopefully getting out and doing some cross-country skiing, which I haven't had much time to do this year, even though it's snowed a ton here in the north of Montreal. But happy to announce who your guest host will be. Drew Block, a regular member of the EOS Fireside Chat, a longtime EOS community member, part of the EOS Nation team, new product owner for the Pomelo platform, and all around great guy with a great voice and some great audio. So you guys are gonna have a treat next week. Andrew's gonna be your host. Please go easy on him. Don't traumatize him. I'd like to take more than just 1 week of vacation this year. So hopefully Andrew wants to come back as a guest host as well later on in the year. So I know, Andrew, I didn't warn you that I'd be announcing this today. I don't know if you want to step in here, say a little something, or maybe you want to reserve all that for next week.
I'll say hi.
Yes,
I will say that the voice, a big part of it is just the microphone that I'm using, but I will be glad to be the voice of the EOS community next week.
Pretty sure if I used your mic, my voice would still not come anywhere near the quality of your voice for these shows.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed that
the as well, very important.
Yeah, that's actually, it's like Samson. That's where the voice comes from.
Tell us, audio nerds, what voice or what microphone you're using.
I am using probably like a mid-90s Shure SM7, which is not quite the same thing as the Shure SM7B, which is the newer one. Has a redesigned humbucking voice coil, and then I'm running it through like a cloud lifter type thing. It's not a cloud lifter, just an inline booster. But yeah, you got to get extra volume out of these things because they're quite quiet. But
nice,
yeah, so yeah, for those audio nerds out there.
There you go. So I'll be helping Drew Block set up the soundboard. So you guys have your same familiar sound effects that everyone has come to expect. And I'm sure it'll be a great show. I'll listen in on the replay probably, or maybe I'll try to join in live, maybe say hi. We'll see. So thanks a lot, Andrew, for agreeing to step up to the plate here and allow me to go skiing a bit next week. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I hope I can deliver.
I'm sure you will.
Big shoes to fill.
All right. Next up, we've got some Pomelo news. We dropped the alpha last week about the dates for Pomelo, but now the official article is out. Actually, I'm just gonna invite Daniel Keys here on stage, see if Daniel Keys wants to share some updates with you guys about Pomelo.
Hey! Thanks for having me on. And yeah, you dropped a little alpha there on Andrew. He's our new Pomelo product owner. So congrats, Andrew. Welcome to the Pomelo team. Andrew's been on the EOS Nation team for, I've lost track of time now. It's been a while. He's been doing a great job. Long-time community member, passionate Pomelo participant, and I think he's going to do a great job helping us, define the product roadmap for Pomelo and working with the team to get it delivered. So maybe some future Pomelo updates you'll be hearing from Andrew instead of from me. In the meantime, we're still getting Andrew up to speed and starting to dig in there. So that's the first update. Thank you. I see Steph sharing the article. We've announced the season 5 dates. If you joined us last week on the Fireside Chat, nothing new there for you. We dropped the little alpha. We leaked those dates on the Fireside Chat. Good reason to come join the chat so you get some early information. But there they are. Applications will be open February 22nd until March 15th. Donations open March 1st, March 23rd. And the analysis and fund distribution happens starting March 23rd. So we've been working hard, getting ready for season 5 and wrapping up season 4. In fact, if my memory serves me right, just yesterday is when we opened up claims for season 4. So if you did participate in season 4 as a grant owner and you didn't here already, you've got funds now available to claim. So you can go log into Pomelo, and in your profile page, profile settings, you can go and claim your matching allocation for season 4. So that's exciting. Always love sending out money to all the awesome builders in the space. And I guess some other thing I can say is another milestone day yesterday. We've been getting a lot of questions. When bounties? I don't have a date for you yet, but what I can say is I successfully went through the whole bounty flow yesterday for the first time. It's now in our development environment. We've got an end-to-end all the way from create a bounty to apply to build to submit to claim. It's all now functioning in our dev environment. We still have some polishing to do, some documentation to do. So still some work to do before we release it to the general audience. But a big milestone that we're really excited about. And I can share some. A few weeks ago, I was talking about bounties, and we got some great feedback from Aaron. I see Aaron's on the line here. Happy that he's listening. About there's kind of the way I described how the bounty flow works is more of a job board than a kind of a proper bounty system. And we've been again playing with the flow a little bit from a user perspective. And as I think about it more and play with it in different ways, we've actually discovered that actually you can do both already without even us. We didn't have to change anything to our flow, but it is going to be possible for a bounty funder to specify on their bounty application or the bounty form, if you want to be accepted as a bounty hunter, present your work right up front, and I'll only accept bounty hunters who have already showed their work that it's completed. So there's an option for you to do kind of that true bug bounty style if you want to. And you also have the option to, rather than requiring people to present their work up front, apply as a hunter. I will accept you to do the work, and then I will review your work afterwards and release the funds at that time. So both options on the table. We'll continue to kind of massage and make those experiences better. The focus, the UI is really tailored for that applicant mode. But like I said, it's possible to do both, and we'll continue to make improvements to the UI to offer both options more explicitly. But something to look forward to in a future version of bounties. In the meantime, like I said, you can sort of hack around it that way. So yeah, those are the Pomelo updates. Happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Actually, there's an extra Pomelo related date that we haven't talked about. Like we've been doing the last couple seasons, at the end of the season, I like to host the EOS Community Poker Tournament. So now that the dates are live, I haven't figured out exactly which Sunday this will be happening, but it will be around the end of March. So get those poker chips ready for some more poker action with the EOS community. Last time was actually really fun. It was the end of December. We had 75 participants, I think, which is great, which was more than double what we had the first round. So I'm looking forward to seeing even more people on this one. And we'll be sharing, the sign-up form for the poker tournament later on, probably in early March. Just want to add that in there. Promote my poker tournament.
Sweet. I had fun. I don't think I played it the last one, but the one before it was a lot of fun. This is the third one? Am I counting right?
Yeah, this one is going to be the third one. We've had 2 so far.
Awesome.
So
I had a lot of fun on the first one.
Prizes to be won. EOS prizes must be donated to a approved grant of your choice. So, of course, we're trying to reward our Pomelo 5 as Pomelo Season 5 grant owners and in general Pomelo grant owners as much as we can. So some extra prizes to be won out there. There's also, of course, a bunch of great NFTs. And with the recent addition to the community NFT collection, with our recent holiday and lunar year contests, and so there's a lot more prizes that are going to be available up for grabs during this poker tournament. So I hope to see you guys there.
Very cool. I'll also mention, look out for an email that we sent, I guess it was yesterday, as we announced that the claiming is available. We also shared a link to a survey. We do this after every season. We like to collect feedback from the participants and try to get a little bit better every season. And the feedback that we get in these surveys is super valuable. So look out for an email with a link to that survey. And then look up for an article where we'll summarize, what we found, what the community is saying about Pomelo Season 4 and how we plan to address the feedback. Maybe I'll even, in case you didn't get the email, because that happens sometimes, you can find the link here in the chat for the survey.
That link. That's right. Next up, we've got a Defibox annual report that was just recently released. Let me share that in the chat. Also going to share an article from EOS Go, kind of community perspective on this report. And then I'm also going to share a couple screenshots from this report that I thought were pretty nice. Here we've got some transaction data in 2022 for Defibox. Highest TVL in terms of USD was on January 5th of last year, $76 million locked up in Defibox protocol. Highest TLV for the swap protocol on Defibox, $49 million. That's great. Highest trade volume in the swap protocol, almost $13 million of swap volume in a day. That's very impressive. And then 4.4 million USN generated in a day. Of course, these USD values are going to be higher at the beginning of the year because, as I'm sure everyone knows, 2022 was kind of rough as the year went on for the crypto markets. But these are cool stats that are shared in the Defibox report. And then the other picture I wanted to share here, talking about box data. So a number that stood out to me was that there are 25,000 box holders in the ecosystem. I mean, that's very impressive. Give some effects for Defibox on that one. Yeah, really, really cool. Over 500 BSS holders. That's the staking, if I'm not mistaken. And then some other cool stats. So encourage you guys to check out the Defibox report. Obviously, Defibox is the leading blockchain DeFi protocol on EOS, and they've been doing great. So here, as I scroll through the report, here are some other things that are shared. They share, their 2022 roadmap. Again, they're saying how they're a leading DeFi on EOS. They're an important partner of the ENF. All 5 of their protocols are receiving Yield Plus rewards. That's great. They highlight some of the promotions they're done, 56 marketing events the Defibox second anniversary celebration, the Vault Staking Challenge, some marketing events on Wax, some media promotions across a variety of internal and external publications, some community stats about on Twitter, on Telegram. Of course, there's the DAO, the Defibox DAO. DIP46, the second Defibox DAO election occurred. DIP47, which allocates 45% of the protocol revenue for buyback and burn of the Box token, which has likely contributed to the significant appreciation of the Box token over the last couple months, over the last year. I think you see maybe almost 100% gain in terms of the EOS value of these Box tokens. So congratulations to all of the Box holders for that. I'm sure Glue Dog is very happy with this. Glue Dog, big fan of Defibox, always spamming our chats with that. Yes, buy Box. There you go. You're kind of late on that one, Glue Dog. I was expecting more from you. All right. Moving on to some other small piece of news here. We had EOS featured in the Bitcoinist.com publication. Always nice to see EOS featured on these big crypto publications. Real quickly here, this article talks, starts out with, few could have predicted a year ago that EOS might one day play a key role in the future of Web3, but a lot can change in 12 months. That's certainly true. Certainly a lot has changed in the last 12 months on EOS. So great to see EOS getting picked up by these big publications. We had a quote as well from the EOS Nation Foundation sharing this article. Let's see what that quote is. There you go. Oh, exactly. That's the exact quote that I just shared. Makes sense. I like it. All right. And now we've got one last topic before we get to the community submitted questions from the Google form. We got some meaty questions this week. I don't know if we'll be able to answer them satisfactorily, but we'll give it a try. But before we get to that, I would like to invite Lennie on stage if he wants to come on stage and talk a bit about his recaps, specifically recaps about Eden delegate commitments for this current term from the election that happened just 1 month ago.
Okay, you dare take me on. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, Lennie, welcome to the Fireside Chat. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, no worries. And partly it's a little bit, what should I call it? Maybe a bit of a revenge time, because the idea behind these commitments, I'm sure you, Stephane, know where it came from. Not quite. All right.
Remind us, Lennie, where did this idea come from?
Well, it was someone who did a kind of a half joke in the morning before the elections, and I put it on the chat. And of course, it was a good joke. It was a fine one. But I like things outside the box a bit, and this spurred on the thoughts, because we all know people are asking, what are the people doing with the funds they are receiving as delegates? That's always been a little bit loose. Now, of course, Edenia have been put up the Spend Explorer, which is very good and will help. The question is only that people also need to then fill in the same, so that, we feel happy that they are doing good stuff with the funds. So I kind of figured with that little, someone called Stephane or someone said, why not send this guy MLN in Paradise around to the breakout rooms? And not a bad idea. So since we are on video, all the delegates, supposedly, at least, then you do a little bit of a recap. Not so much words, but more pointing into where are the pitches, where are the commitments. And eventually, it takes time, but eventually you'll have them all up there. There are few that haven't provided video and similar, but most of them are there. So it's easy to kind of follow up. Did they do what they said they would do with the funds and similarly? Because we have been lacking a bit of accountability and transparency and all these kind of things. And I'm a stickler for those stuff. So, yeah, that's about it. And Stephane, you're the one who brought it on, unfortunately. I didn't realize how long time it takes. Thanks for that.
My idea was to just clone you 25 times and have you be in all those rooms at the same time.
We'll do that next time.
Maybe we need a Lennie AI bot of sort that just automatically tracks everything for us. But yeah, that's great that you kind of ran with my semi joke and got in there, because I think it is important for this data to be easily found for the community, for people who may not be following all the chats all the time about Eden. There's definitely a lot of chats, a lot of chatter going on. So I think it's great that we're going to have one place where we can find all this stuff. So I linked the Telegram group here in the voice chat. So if people want to join that, I imagine that's where you'll be posting your recaps.
Yes, if I just might add, I mean, just want to add one thing, that there are very short words in it, because I don't want to in any way color whatever is said, so to say, and it's tricky, so therefore it's kind of only hinting to topics, so to say, so that you get the timestamps for these things, and that's the delegates themselves, mainly, that are giving these words and stuff. But it's just hinting at the topic areas, those that might be interesting. That's it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great approach. That's a great idea. I love having access to this information in as concise, a way possible. I know everyone's very busy, and so getting these recaps, I think, is very important. I just shared a screenshot here of the Term 5 Chief Delegates recap that was shared in that channel just a few days ago. I see we've got a couple new joiners just now of the channel. That's great. And yeah, thanks, Lennie, for joining us on the Fireside, and thank you for all the great work you do with the recaps. All right, Zack, are you still with us? I see that Eve left before these community questions. I didn't share any of these questions with anyone, but some are addressed to the community, some are addressed to me. Maybe Zack can step in to answer some of these, but yeah, so let's go over these questions. And everyone in the crowd here, I'm gonna need your help answering some of these questions. A lot of these are in matters that I am not an expert in, and I'm definitely not qualified to answer. So if anyone has thoughts or answers for these questions, please, I invite you guys to jump in. All right. First question comes from Andrew, actually, our future host. He sent this question late last show. I didn't see it until the show was over. But his question is addressed to a developer familiar with IBC. And Andrew asks, is it feasible to create proof servers for other cryptocurrencies? In other words, is trustless IBC portable/usable across other chains, or is this solution only relevant for Antelope? Great question. Obviously too technical for me. If you're forcing me to answer, I would guess only for Antelope, but really that's just a pure guess. I don't know. Who do we have here in the chat? Maybe NS James has some knowledge on this. Maybe
holding my tongue because I'm afraid I don't actually know the answer to this question.
Okay.
I might.
No answer from
Aaron.
Yes, Aaron, you were the next one.
I believe so. I mean, I've seen conversations. I sit in a lot of the IBC calls, and I believe that it is possible to prove transactions from non-Antelope chain. But somebody from that side with more technical knowledge would definitely be worth following up with.
All right. So my guess answer was incorrect. Classic. I should not attempt to answer these things I know nothing about. Oh, did Denis unmute his mic? Are we going to get some Denis action going on? No, maybe not. Maybe he's just teasing me. All right. Well, great question, Andrew. Audio not working. Tried to talk. Okay. Tried to reconnect Denis. Sometimes that fixes the issue. Yes, best way to get the right answer on the internet is to say the wrong answer and then someone will correct. That's right. This was proven once again just now. All right. Okay, let's keep it going. Next question submitted by someone named Fila. And the question is addressed to Stephane. Great, thank you. I imagine that's me. What challenges have you faced while developing EOS? I mean, I'm not a developer, and developers don't necessarily develop EOS, so I'm not exactly sure what to make of this question, but you know what? Figured I'd ask it anyways. But actually, some of this question is kind of incorporated in the future question, so we're going to move on. Stephane, the EOS dev, oh my god, yeah, right, that would be terrible. I wish that on no network. So Neo 420 here had some questions for Eve. Unfortunately, Eve left. But maybe next time I will run these questions a bit earlier in the show, because I think Eve kind of only has 1 hour available for these firesides these days. So I'm going to try to get these in earlier so that we can get some answers from Eve. But I'll open up these questions, because there are actually 5 questions here, to the whole room. Number 1, what is the main purpose of the EOS network and how does it differ from other blockchain platforms? Great question. I mean, one of the obvious ways it differs, and I talk about this in every intro, is that the foundation for this network emerged organically from within the network years after the launch, where all the other foundations kind of are created pre-launch, and so I think that's a big difference. Main purpose of the EOS network, I mean, that's a very vague question that can be answered in very different ways for many people. You know, some can be mainly using EOS for Defibox and some very smooth DeFi experience with no fees. You can deposit small amounts of money, big amounts of money, earn nice yield. So obviously, I'm sure that's a main purpose for some people. Another main purpose of the EOS network may be GameFi. Tons of users on a plan, one of the most popular blockchain games in the whole space. So EOS network could definitely be considered, as a GameFi for the main purpose. And I think that theme will resurface more and more over the coming weeks, months, and years. And I would love for anyone else to jump in here and share their thoughts on what you think the main purpose of the EOS network is. Okay, who's Larissa from Rio Blocks? I will unfortunately have to server mute you. Oh, we've got Denis here coming in with a text answer since his audio is not working. So let me read that out loud. So regarding the topic of the UX's inter-blockchain communication on non-Antelope chain, Denis says, I'm assuming yes, the concept can be ported over. However, the struggle will be to get the appropriate blockchain related data that's required to make those proofs available on these other networks. Antelope were spoiled. Lots of thought went into the block data schema. As long as the other chains support the same block headers and provide the block root Merkle's active nodes, which is provided on Antelope, Denis says that yes, this could be possible. That's great. Thank you, Denis, for typing out that answer. Djstrikanova coming in here saying he spent thousands using Uniswap and Just Gas, so he appreciates the free transactions on EOS DeFi. Absolutely. Definitely spoiled on EOS interacting with DeFi. I as well was playing around with DeFi on other chains, and after just getting wrecked by huge fees, I just swore it all off. And now my only DeFi action is on Defibox, and I like it a lot. Jack Bites coming in here sharing that he thinks the account creation and permissions is the best and most powerful part of EOS. I would definitely agree that the permission structure is extremely powerful. Account creation being the best part of EOS, I don't think so. There's a lot of friction still in the account creation. Teams are working on that to make it less friction heavy. But yeah, love the answers coming in from the chats. All right, another question. Again, what challenges have you faced while developing EOS? So maybe we can edit this question a bit. And what challenges have you faced while developing on EOS? Perhaps what this user meant. So if you got any devs in the house that want to share some of the challenges you've faced, maybe in the past, yeah, maybe you can speak up. I obviously can't speak to that.
EOS's account creation system.
Yeah, there you go. That's one of the challenges faced by EOS developers. How to get these new users to join in the first time. Once they're in, then it's smooth sailing and it's a great experience. But getting them in, through that door the first time is definitely still a hurdle. But as we heard on recent Fireside Chats with the EOS EVM, there are plans to make that process much easier for new users. So looking forward to learning more about that. Another question.
And I would add also, I guess, the tooling and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to the stuff the GreyMass team's working on, all the Wharf Kit SDKs, making it a lot easier for developers to build great experiences for their users. Because right now, we've got a great base layer blockchain here with Antelope, but that Block One didn't build any of the wallet stuff, all the SDKs. So building Pomelo, it was a lot of building basic things that just make the user experience possible. So yeah, with the Wharf Kit coming soon, we're really excited to see what developers do with that and the new experiences that come to life.
Absolutely great comments there, Daniel. All right, the next question here, there's 5 of them. Question number 3, how does EOS ensure governance and decision making? This one is fairly straightforward. I can answer it. EOS has a delegated proof of stake consensus mechanism, which means that token holders are the ones that elect block producers, and the top 21 voted block producers are the ones that have the power to make governance and decisions. A great example of a big decision like this recently that the block producers came together to make is the creation of the EOS Network Foundation a year and a half ago or so. This was, the block producers kind of approved this, kind of actually came up with the concept. They wanted a foundation. And so that is how EOS ensures governance and decision making. It's through token holders voting for block producer representatives of the network. How does the EOS platform ensure scalability and security? Another good question. I'm going to give a crack at answering it, but please, anyone, feel free to jump in and tell me I'm wrong. I know I'm not wrong, but there's probably more that can be added. In terms of scalability, I'm not going to talk to security. That's definitely above my pay grade. But in terms of scalability, these days, the Antelope Coalition is a coalition of 4 different networks. I talk about it in the intro every time on the Fireside. EOS, UX, Telos, Wax, all coming together, all pooling funds, and all finding consensus on what features should be added to the Antelope blockchain protocol next. And so the way that EOS platform ensures scalability is by exactly collaborating with these other networks, hiring some of the best devs in the game, for example, through OCI, and many that are now hired directly by the ENF, working directly for the ENF, and that is how the Antelope protocol is upgraded. I don't know if anyone else wants to add more color to that or talk to the security aspect of this question. And then the final is, what are the biggest benefits of using the EOS platform, and what are the most important features of EOS? So I think the biggest benefits is definitely that, once you're past that initial account creation friction, the user experience is extremely smooth on EOS. Fees are very low, often covered by the applications themselves, so the users don't have to worry about any of these fees. GrayMass and the Anchor Wallet does a good job at that. A lot of applications as well have abstracted away all of the fees from the users. So in my opinion, the UX of using the EOS network is definitely one of the biggest benefits, in my opinion. Another actually huge benefit of using the EOS platform, and kind of a competitive advantage that EOS has over a lot of these newer chains that have come online recently in the last couple of years, is that EOS is extremely battle tested over many years, has withstood the IDOS attack, has upgraded the network in terms of software. The block producers have upgraded their hardware. The block producers in, what year was it? I think 2019, when the whole IDOS CPU mining was going on. There's a lot of work that went on with the block producers to improve the configuration of the nodes on the network in order to make sure that they can handle insane amount of throughput. The network really increased its resiliency, its performance back then. IDOS is no longer a thing, but those advantages, those upgrades are still live, of course. So EOS is battle tested, is ready for anything that users and applications want to throw at it. And as James coming in here sharing some benefits, in his opinion: speed, low cost, easy upgradability, built-in Msigs, and the account system. All great benefits and competitive advantages for EOS compared to other platforms. Tony here from GrayMass sharing that he's planning to update their guides to shorten the documentation process of account creation, as well as some short form videos, which is great. Looking forward to that, Tony and the guys at GrayMass. All right, thank you very much, Neo42, for the great questions. Love to get these. All right. Our next question comes from Imran and is addressed to me, Stephane. And the questioner is: free airdrop, free courses with rewards, and free quest. Not sure if this is a question, comment, or topic suggestion, but in terms of free airdrops, there's not that many airdrops going on these days. There was a lot at the start of the network, not so many these days. So I guess that would be my answer for that. In terms of free courses, maybe I can invite Nathan James to talk about some of the courses and that he's been working on for the ENF.
Absolutely. Let me just pull up a link here.
Yes.
Give me 1 second.
Great. So free courses with rewards and free quest. Not too sure what that means.
We're not talking about rewards yet, though. That is something that is being worked on for the Learn portal. In terms of entities that you can display as kind of like a certificate, but actually has your grades and tracks your progress. More like a soulbound token.
Love that.
Then here we have on our public GitHub project boards. I just posted it here in the chat. These are the phase 1 courses that we're immediately working on. These are first going to become written guides. And then we're working on those simultaneously as they come out as video guides as well. This is just phase 1. This should be, we're aiming at the middle of 2023 to complete these. And then there's a whole nother roadmap of phase 2 guides, which are a little bit more advanced. They dive deeper into some of the more technical aspects of the chain, and also a lot more actionable guides. So things like creating a marketplace or creating a game, or just a couple different templates that you can hit the ground running with and get your applications really ready very quickly. We're also going to, along with that, be creating some actual templates so that you can simply build off of them without having to write all of the boilerplate yourself.
There you go. Thank you very much for that information. In terms of free airdrop, I mean, there's no like project token airdrops these days, but there's definitely free NFT airdrops, and a lot of the promotions that we run include the chance of winning EOS as an airdrop through these contests. So if you're following, EOS Nation on Twitter, we do our weekly hot sauce promotion contest, bblk.io/EOS Nation. Go there. There's always a contest running. Help us share the news about the hot sauce, and you can win some party crackers, which contains a whole variety of free prizes, which can be considered airdrops. The ENF is running contests as well. There was one for the holiday in December, the Lunar New Year in January, and so those are free to enter. Sometimes we want you to like and retweet stuff. Sometimes we're asking questions for your thoughts on various initiatives in the EOS ecosystem, and every time you get rewarded with some prizes, which can be considered free airdrops. So there you go. Thank you, Imran, for that question. All right. Wow, this is a long question. Oh my God, I should have prepared a bit more for this. But you know what? I'm just gonna read it for the first time live. Fuck it, we're doing it live. So the name of this question comes from 0.0PS. Oops, or is that a face and PS? I don't know. Alternatives to wait a minute. Wait a minute. Am I being trolled here? Yeah, I'm gonna have to read this before reading it live on air. And the last question we had from Djstrikanova, addressed to the whole Fireside chat: what are the best games on the EOS platforms, and why do you like it? I'm going to throw out Upland. Of course, I've mentioned it a few times already. Upland is definitely up there in all of the cryptosphere, but there's also, I don't know if casino games counts, but there's also a couple nice casino platforms. I got hooked by the great user interface of sportsbet.one recently. Started betting on the World Cup, ended up playing some blackjack, lost a few hundred EOS, great times. Challenge DAC, Chase coming in with the Challenge DAC recommendation. Is that a game though? I guess it can be considered a game. That'll qualify. It qualifies in my opinion. There was a couple of other games a couple of years ago, but I'm not sure if they're still on there. But with the EOS EVM coming soon, I think we're gonna definitely see a surge of games available on the EOS platform, especially through the EOS EVM. So definitely there's gonna be a lot more answers to this question in a couple of months, in my opinion. Here, looking back at the chat, what did we have? Aaron, regarding the benefits of using the EOS network and the competitive advantages, Aaron shares that the transaction signing process has a ton of potential beyond what any other chain offers at the moment as well. So Aaron definitely knows what he's talking about when talking about the transaction signing process as the lead for the very popular Anchor wallet, of course. So there you go. Those were the questions for today. If so, at this point, we're opening it up to the community open mic section. If you have comments, questions, you want to share updates about your projects, whatever it is, I'll invite you to join us on stage. And while I play a bit of music, I will read this last comment and this last question here that I skipped to see if it's relevant for us on the Fireside.
So I've seen Upland recommend, like, what do you do in Upland?
Take over the world. It's a kind of like Monopoly, but with the actual maps of actual cities out there, and then your
It's kind of like a board game type thing.
Kind of, yeah. It will eventually. It is a metaverse, and they do plan on going 3D and full metaverse experience eventually. Right now, I think it's 2D. I was playing Upland when it first launched, but unfortunately these days I don't have time for many games, so I'm not fully up to date on the latest and greatest of Upland. But when I was playing, basically your character moves around kind of randomly on the board in whatever city, for example, New York. And then when you go over certain properties, you can buy them. Or if you want to teleport to another section of the city, then you need to pay the property owner that you used to teleport. There's treasure hunts where you can find prizes in these properties. It's like that's kind of my very basic overview of what I remember of Upland when I played it for a bit when it launched. Prospectors, another one, great game. That's right. So this was launched on Wax, but is also now live on EOS. Actually, it was launched on basically both networks at the same time. Thank you, Optic Red Rum, for bringing that up. Again, Prospectors, another game that I joined, but I have not played in a while. EOS Knights, also a game I joined and played for a while, but I don't think that exists anymore. Lewis here flexing his bag of gold and PGL in the Prospectors game. Congratulations, Lewis. If anyone else has some more details about Upland, or if they're playing, we'd love to hear from you guys, of course.
There's this great game on EOS where you can create value in the real world and get rewarded by the community for continuing to create value. It's called Pomelo.
Hey everyone, this is Jesse with the Bees. Speaking of Pomelo, I'd like to, first of all, thank the Pomelo team very much and all the donors out there. We were recently able to claim our matching funds, and I want to give an update on what we're thinking at the Bees for our matching funds. So the way we set up the grant is, depending on how much we raise, we have a certain amount of swarms. And we have, based on the numbers on the grant, there are 30 swarms that essentially we raised. And the price per swarm was higher this season because we have this comments. So can't remember, but one of the fireside chats that came on and introduced swarm with comments. This was feedback from the community. And I think I mentioned that there are definitely scaling issues. So we can set up our swarms in different ways. One of them is, right now we have around 400 bees, and we can offer that all 400 bees can submit a comment. But in order to filter and promote thoughtful comments, they submit a comment through a chatbot, and our team reviews it and gives it 1 out of 3 scores, denied, good, or great. And it's quite labor intensive. I mean, that's why the cost was high, but we've really been working on this, on how to scale this. And I think that we have a good solution that we're working on. And basically, throughout when we started doing these comments, we were able to see, which bees are more thoughtful than others. And the cream is rising to the top, as they say. And so we're building this kind of, I guess it's like a mid-tier between swarms with no comments and swarms with comments, we're building like a special comment group of the best commenters. And instead of having to deal with 400 comments, we're trying to build up to, like 20 comments. And so I think that we can significantly reduce our cost for the swarms and offer maybe even 60 instead of 30 swarms. I don't want to like promise everything. We owe at least 30 swarms. It's definitely going to be more than 30 swarms. We are still working that out. And so I just wanted to let the community know that we're going to be spending the rest of this month kind of building this. And we want to just knock it out of the park, just do a lot of swarming in March. And that'll be great because that's when the next Pomelo season starts. And hopefully these great innovations in EOS and the EVM and maybe some more details. I mean, the big IBC announcement came out, and I think I don't exactly remember when EVM is supposed to come out, but yeah, we're going to be spending some time to kind of lower that cost for the network for our swarms, and we'll get some great comments. And so yeah, we'll be like a little relatively less quieter, call it like a building phase for the rest of this month, and then watch out in March. So yeah, that's our update. And again, thank you to the Pomelo team, the EOS Network Foundation, and all the donors for another great Pomelo season. It is allowing the bees to survive and exist and bring value to EOS. And so, yeah, thanks, guys.
Excellent. I need to find myself a bees sound effect for when you share these great bee updates. Lewis interested here in the chat, asking some questions about swarms. Looks like he's going to be DMing you, Jesse. All right, so back to our community questions. Was that a bee sound effect that I heard? So this is actually a very nice comment. It's actually fairly long. I'm going to read it out for everyone. It's actually obviously a very interesting topic, talking about AI, ChatGPT, Web3, all of that stuff. So from 0.ops, the comment goes as follows. So this is alternatives to EOS for the Web3 era accelerated by GPT. Competition between Google and Microsoft is intensifying over the generated artificial intelligence market, which is drawing attention as a game changer. Recently, global big tech movement to take the lead in the generated AI market seems to be accelerating, as it has proven that OpenAI's interactive ChatGPT can replace human tasks such as writing reports and coding using AI. Web3 is the third generation World Wide Web that leverages distributed technologies such as blockchain to enable new forms of online interactions and applications. ChatGPT, on the other hand, is a large language model developed by OpenAI that can be used to generate human-like text. Web3 and ChatGPT are not directly related, but both are related to the field of artificial intelligence and the development of new technologies. Web3 technology can be used in conjunction with ChatGPT to create new and innovative applications, but it has not yet been identified. In addition to GameFi and Metaverse, EOS also needs to prepare for the AI era. Therefore, we propose discussion topics to the ENF and participants. 1. Improving the quality and safety of artificial intelligence services by storing and managing blockchain-based data. 2. Discovery of an artificial intelligence business model that combines blockchain. 3. Support for the implementation of explainable artificial intelligence. 4. Intellectual property rights issues of the learning data model and means of payment of user fees. 5. Proposal for additional GPU resource leasing and compensation support services. Image generation model. Example, Boyd. 6. Identification layer that shows that you are a real human being, formerly voice. GPT is blowing a warm breeze in the ICT industry ecosystem, but artificial intelligence will not benefit everyone. In the Web3 ecosystem, I think it's time for EOS to get ready to embrace it. You may already be preparing ahead of time, but you also need to share your future vision with participants. Thank you. All right, thank you very much for this nice, long, well-written comment. I'm going to share kind of the 6 items from this comment in the chat here for anyone who wants to review them once more. And I'm going to invite Nathan James to maybe comment on this. I know I've seen Nathan posting a lot about AI on Twitter. I've recently followed more and more people that are offering free guides to ChatGPT and various applications and how to be a pro at prompting ChatGPT. Unfortunately, I've had no time to play around with these tools, which makes me very sad and anxious a bit, to be honest. But maybe Nathan James has some thoughts on this.
I mean, we're in the blockchain world. We know what a boom looks like. This is a very large boom, and ignoring it is at your own risk. It's like a futile attempt at this point. There are definitely some synergies between blockchain and AI. I particularly like the fact that they talked about data on the blockchain, because that's something that I've also talked about in the past. We have this enormous amount of public information which is now able to be fed into these large language models and basically predict outcomes of all different types, whether it's games and user behavior, user experience, whether it's market data or just other types of data. There's a large gap and possibilities there for anybody who wants to take advantage of it. And I haven't really seen many people taking advantage of that cross-section between Web3 and artificial intelligence. So it very much excites me.
It's going to be definitely our goal. Like one thing we want to, like one I'm considering for the Pomelo grant is drafting is basically an NFT search engine, in the sense that all NFT sites, they usually, you can, when you search, it's just like for the collection name. What if you could have like, a bot that, collects all the images from all these NFTs, runs them for, like a clip tool that tells you the content of that image, and then like spits it back out in some sort of searchable index. Then people can actually look at for content within an NFT. To add like on top of that, to use the effect network, like you could validate it too. So let's say some people build a model where you have image recognition, it's very helpful to have workers say, is it actually accurate or not? Is it accurate? Rated on 1 to 10. And so we could like build up this giant database just evaluating image recognition, and simultaneously build up a database for using like for searching for any NFT based on content, like does this dog have had stuff like that. So that's definitely stuff we're working on right now.
And you guys have been in this probably longer than most people, especially at that cross section. What do you think are the biggest hurdles are going to be for people just joining the cross section of those two ecosystems right now?
For those who don't know, Djstrikanova is an active member of the Effect AI community. Just to put some context here for people.
The biggest cross section, it's a good question. Say, I guess for now, the question is, people are going to ask why use blockchain to begin with, right? And I think in the future there's going to be a big narrative shift where it's going to be a battle between centralized artificial intelligence and decentralized artificial intelligence, because we all know that OpenAI is going to be it's basically owned by Microsoft, right? ChatGPT is going to be embedded in Bing, and like their technology is amazing, but they're like a megacorp, right? Like they're going to have, the challenger is Google's Bard, but they're also a megacorp. So the question is, like, in the future, are we going to want megacorps to control like this incredibly powerful tool, or we want to have like a decentralized AI? So I think the challenge is just for the same reason why we like decentralized finance, is going to be the same reason why we would want decentralized AI, in the sense that it's not controlled by one single entity that makes the decisions. Like you can distribute like model computation. Like, for example, another idea I have, kind of tangent to this, is like a bunch of GPU miners stop doing it because Ethereum isn't profitable to mine. But all this computation power can reduce costs for doing AI models stuff, computing all that. So like like my vision of the future is decentralized AI will become a thing, and it will rise in challenge to the megacorps having centralized AI. Hope that answers the question somewhat.
I very much agree with that. Absolutely. It's been one of those problems. Like the biggest prompt that I've seen go viral is Dan, DAN, which is hilarious that it's named that. But it's like the way to bypass ChatGPT's policy restriction auto comment. And I think that, like you mentioned, having these organizations be able to tell us what is, I hate using this word, but quote unquote woke, is not really always in our benefit. It's kind of like a narrative spin. And we, as Web3 communities, usually dislike that kind of ultimatum, control, dystopian kind of feeling of, hey, you're controlling everything about my life. So there's absolutely going to be something there in the future.
And this is now when it's just free. Like, imagine once it starts being monetized, they're going to inject advertisements into this. You're going to be asking a prompt, and it'll be like a perfect way to trick you into going to McDonald's. Like, they're going right now. OpenAI is like burning money hosting it for everyone, even if their subscription fee, like with like Bing search, for example, like for search, like one reason I think Google is late to the party is because I think it's more profitable, their search, compared to AI. And so the question is, how are they going to monetize it? They can't have a search cost money. Otherwise, Web 2 search will still remain dominant. So they're going to have to inject advertisements some way. And it may be like just literally like sponsored content, like literally persuading you. So yeah, that's like why I'm a big advocate of decentralized AI, because like you can't trust the megacorps to be in your best interest.
I guess my question would be like decentralized in what aspect, right? Because like decentralized ownership, open source software, open source training models, that is all fantastic. But barring some sort of quantum leap in technology, it will not be possible to do decentralized AI computation. Like Boyd was brought up, for example. So if we had, 1,000 EOS members who are distributed across the globe and each have one GPU, like it wouldn't be possible to do chat GPT things in like a reasonable amount of time.
Well, it's possible.
They're already having issues.
I do it right now.
They're already having issues scaling past. Well, I mean, okay, I'd love to hear you expand on that, but allow me to finish. They're already having issues expanding past, a trillion or so neurons because they can't communicate fast enough between the memory and the processor in a single rack. Like 80% of the cost of an AI model is the communication between the memory and the GPU, and that's with a single board. So I don't want to make like a nobody will ever need more than 64 kilobytes of RAM kind of statement, but expanding that across the globe or even across a geographically distributed area is just going to make it that much more challenging. So if you have a solution to that, I'd love to hear it. But I mean, there
absolutely,
have been
I agree
projects that have tried that. Go ahead.
I agree, it's going to be super challenging, but that's part of the fun because right now they're like I linked the Kobold Horde, which is like basically I can using my GPU, like my 3090, I can host a node that can do like a 13, like I think it's like 7 billion parameter type LLMs. So yeah, it's true that this isn't big, cheap. I forgot how many parameters, but it's much bigger. So I think we're still kind of at the very beginning, where in the sense that not really much of a decentralized option. And so, but you said decentralized in what way? It would involve the open source code. It would involve open source generated data. It would have to require like decentralized computation, similar to how crypto mining works, where GPUs can be collected in a cluster to do transactions. And so I won't say like, I would say distributed works, but it's not blockchain yet. Like I think there's BitTensor, what was it, with its Tau that wants to do something like this. But basically, I see the trend towards this where it's going to become way to compete because there's a lot of, if it can be parallelized stuff like ChatGPT, then the computation costs will go down. Because like another problem with AI is if everyone wants to use it, there's going to be lots and lots of demand for the computation. Prices will rise, but then it becomes unaffordable for everyone, right? So, yeah, I hope. I only want to disagree with you in the sense that I can like do lower level LLMs right now in a distributed cluster, but yeah, like you can't do ChatGPT like collectively just yet. That's for sure. But I think it's something that we definitely want in the future.
So I saw an interesting post actually today from Andre Cronje, top DeFi dev in the blockchain space. He tweeted, and let me share it, which will echo what Zack just said. He tweeted, "Please stop asking Phantom about AI." So Andre works for the Phantom blockchain these days. AI and blockchains don't mix. And then the image, and then the text he shares is that blockchain equals slow by centralized standards, transparent and secure. AI equals high throughput, opaque, and a black box. He continues saying, "I need to very clearly stress these two things do not mix." That's like asking, what role do you see for Coca-Cola in the construction industry? Blockchain and AI are not complementary, and for now, anyone that jumps on the AI bandwagon is simply doing so for pump and dump reasons. He's talking about crypto, of course. If you see a project all of a sudden pivot to AI, it just means they had nothing and they are dead in the water. If, and that's a very unlikely if, we get to a point where blockchains could handle the kind of throughput required that a neural net needs, we might be able to see them on chain. But even then, the question would be, but why? Blockchains don't improve AI, and AI doesn't improve blockchain. So I'm not saying I agree with all that, but I thought it was kind of an interesting comment from Andre that I saw today, which is obviously very relevant to the comment that was asked and the discussion we're having now. So I figured I'd chat that. How uninspiring, says Nathan James.
I think currently the way Singularity Net and Fetch, they do it as like an oracle where you kind of run your own like server doing the transactions. Then you can basically, people can pay using the crypto to do it. And but I think even that's going to be a better model than depending on Google or Microsoft. So yeah, I don't think there will be I think he's correct in that blockchains are super slow. I mean, they are, but the benefits of decentralization are worth it, right? And so I think even where we have like a way where you can have like 10 different, like it's what if you could have AI computation be trustless or something like that, where you have like 100 people generating something, and then to make sure like they all are doing it fairly, like it'll be much more inefficient, but it will be decentralized. And so that's why, harking back to like the original idea, is it will be the question of centralization versus decentralization.
Blockchain is good for money, exchange of value. It's good for proving the state of the code that's being run, perhaps, or proving the state of the model. But like having a bunch of different people solve the same problem with AI independently just sounds super expensive. Like, for example, to run GPT-3, it takes 8 A100 GPUs, each of which costs $32,000. Like, that's not something I can ever run at home. There are models I can run at home, but if I can run it at home with my GPU, like, why would I pay someone else to do that, I guess? So I don't know. I think there is a place for blockchain and AI in a limited capacity to provide value exchange and to provide provability that the system was at a particular state at a particular time. But I don't see a space, at least in the next 10 years, barring some crazy innovation, where people will be doing decentralized artificial intelligence. And I'd love to be wrong.
I mean, this is really just looking at it of the point of having artificial intelligence on chain. Yes. I'm going to assume the answer to that is yes. That's of course not the only thing that we can use either for. So blockchain does have the ability to provide, like we mentioned before, data for AI to be able to run through models. It has the ability to provide funding mechanisms for trainers, like we've seen, as somebody mentioned, Boyd doing. And I don't know if anybody here saw the articles about the $2 a day African trainers who are getting basically shafted, and the ability for blockchain to help solve that. There's also the other way around. So the ability for AI to help us solve problems within blockchain. So just having some AI who's specifically trained on various different blockchains and how they work on from a technical perspective, being able to chat with that AI and go back and forth. Because humans, we can't. I mean, I can learn 5 different blockchains, but I'm not going to know everything about these blockchains. Whereas an AI will have a much better memory and better ability to kind of put the pieces together that I might miss, or have answers to questions that I might not be able to come up with myself just due to poor memory. So I do think that outside of having AI running on blockchain or having blockchain be part of AI itself, there is a lot of different ways that those two things can provide synergy for each other creatively.
I think the biggest role for blockchain with regard to AI is that of governance. As an editorial role, so to speak, who's running it, who's deciding its sentiments. As a proof, try asking GPT if the WEF is trying to gain control of the world. Now, that's a controversial question, and you may think its answer is correct or not, but it appears to be an editorial question. So blockchain being slow and immutable, I think it has a huge role. In fact, it may have an existential role to humanity.
Voila.
I think I think with Zack, I think it's just the question is how decentralized do you want it? Because for me, it's really more just like something better than $1 trillion companies holding control of AI and all of us depending on their black box. Something where you can have your own hardware and like have a space where you can be rewarded for providing your own computation for someone else, and then you can use it for your own computation when you need it. So I would say, like, I guess decentralized AI, yeah, I think it would take like a long time, as you said, 10 years out, but definitely more decentralized for sure. That's something that's going to be much closer as a, like, I guess, a theme compared to centralized AI, which would be OpenAI, its ironic name, Microsoft and Google.
Hey, I'm all for more decentralization where it's possible. To the point made about governance, I don't know if you guys have heard about Noam Brown's work with, he made an AI, his team made an AI that's strangely not based on neural nets, so I don't really know how it works, but they learned a lot about the optimal way to, I guess, play the game, not actually run a government, but it has implications for governance. So that's something interesting to look up if you guys haven't heard about that.
Repeat the name, please.
Noam Brown is the name. I'll share
please.
NOAMBROWN. I'll share the podcast that I listened to in the chat.
The model for that I just suggested for AI came to mind because it's exactly what I'm trying to do with my dnews.zone website, which is aggregating content of our ecosystem. What I'm trying to do is suggest that a decentralized a DAO control the content, and I'm trying to do it in the trying to create the interface for that in the simplest way possible, so that we can take that very first step with the least amount of friction. But it's the same idea. Who's going to control the the artificial intelligence is essentially the same question as who's going to control the stream of publishing sources. So I think it's useful to develop that concept of decentralized governance with regard to media, or you could think of AI in the future as a form of media if it's going to serve up search. So I hope the community shares that thought with me. Thank you.
That's a good point. It's exactly is going to be media, because that's how most people will treat it. If it replaces search, that means the AI controls the results, has its own framing and bias based on who owns it. So decentralized at the very least means we don't have one single source controlling that.
To Tony's question in chat, I'm not referring to WBF, I'm referring to WEF. There you go. Thank you, Gordon.
I definitely think we can't sleep on this. Like, Nathan's been on about AI a lot longer than I have. I kind of slept on it for a while because AI was one of those things where it's like, we're always just 20 years away from strong AI, like ever since 1950. So I just kind of ignored it while I went through my computer science education. But like ChatGPT really turned me around on that. Like a CNBC video called it an iPhone moment, and I tend to agree. And, I've been advocating internally in the ENF for us to use AI and have gotten support from nearly everyone to use services like ChatGPT to augment our ability to do our jobs. And so I hope that everyone else here does that as well as they contribute to the EOS ecosystem or just whatever you do in your life. I do think that we should take advantage of AI and use it to augment our ability to do what we're already doing, because it's very, very powerful.
You still there? Please, stay with me! Is this real?
I've been using the GitHub's Copilot. I like it a lot. It makes tedious stuff go by quicker, which is why exactly I am jumping on the gun that needs to be decentralized, because their product is so good. And if everyone uses it, then it's kind of like, the whole country, like the whole world will be controlled by like 3 mega corporations.
I'm not even sure if I know how to code anymore without Copilot.
Gotcha! I am getting bored.
So since Robot Stephane is getting bored, I can share a couple of my thoughts about both AI and then also an update. This is Dancing Joy, by the way. Sounds great. I'm just imagining how it would be if Stephane hosted every episode using that voice the whole time. It sounds pretty cool. Thank you. So yeah, with the AI, super interesting conversation. Thanks for bringing it up, and whoever asked that question, and all the great conversation. Great to hear from the Effect AI team. I've really been appreciating that you've been joining and sharing a lot of insights lately, and excited to learn more. And I've also been exploring a lot about Stability AI and Stable Diffusion and ChatGPT, and there's going to be fascinating times ahead, very challenging times ahead too. It's going to be wild, and I think that EOS has a very big role to play. I agree with what Perry was saying, that it's very important how it's governed, and that's very important for humanity and civilization as a whole. So thanks for the great discussion with AI, and then I suppose I'll move on to a couple of different updates that I can briefly share with the community, unless, of course, anybody wants to say anything first. No. Okay, cool. Sounds good. A couple updates. One, I don't know if we've updated about the Eden Fractal in a while on the EOS Fireside Chat, but I figure now is a good time. So we just had our 36th meeting that just ended a couple hours ago, and we had an excellent meeting. Things are progressing quite a lot, and the whole community is cooperating much better and much more gracefully. We have several systems that I think I updated, I don't know, a couple months ago, but we're using the Eden plus Fractal process and electing delegates and making polls on consortium and proposing topics. And so we have all sorts of systems to have good, moderate conversations and very productive. In the past week, we made we approved several proposals. Well, for one thing, there's a great engineer in the group named Tadas Vaikunas who released a app called Fractogram, which I'll mention in a moment, which is super helpful. And yeah, the two proposals that the delegates approved were to reconfigure the Eden.fractal Msig for the Eden.fractal account. So the new configuration includes six new signatories, 6 new people who join the Msig, and there's a smart time delay system, and there's also a custom permission in there. So we're getting details of using the envelope features to help us secure the community and be able to make sure that that account works well. And I've also been making show notes every week too at edenfractal.com/35. I'll share it in the link or in the chat rather, so people can check it out. But basically every week we're publishing videos on the Eden Creators YouTube channel. And then we're also, I've been curating some show notes on the websites at like edenfractal.com/35. Actually, I should have made that link better with an HTTPS, so I'll fix that in a moment. But yeah, basically you can keep up there and see timestamps as well as highlights of the article. And there's much more coming soon, of course. And then a couple other things I'll say too. One about the Fractogram app. So that's an innovative Telegram web app that helps communities cooperate with the Fractally and specifically the Eden plus Fractal consensus process. So it's an app where it like pre-makes polls and make it really easy for people to do the process where people rank each other's contributions 1 through 6 and elect a delegate and so forth. And then it has an integration directly with the web app that's an on-chain app that Vlad is building for a while now. That inputs the consensus results on chain. So people can vote on Telegram and then basically hit a couple buttons really quick and then hit submit, and then it gets submitted on chain. So it's super, super helpful. I'm really excited about it. It's got a great name too, Fractogram. I'll share the link in the chat here to the introductory article. And also on the edenfractal.com/35, there's also a little story that I wrote about it where it kind of curates some of the presentations that Tadas built. I just shared it again with the proper HTTPS, so you can now see it and easily click on it. And one other thing I think I'll share, well, for one thing, for anybody who's not familiar with Tadas, you can check out a podcast that I did with Tadas. I released a new show called Creator Talk. You can find it at creatortalk.show, and so you can learn about Tadas there. He's also been innovating in many other ways. He created the Eden plus Fractal process and the moderator guidelines, and he proposed the Msig actually. So he's an all-star, as well as many other people in the community doing amazing work. It's super inspiring. And then the last thing I'll share too is that I've also been upping the game with Eden Town Halls too. So I recently launched a first version of edentownhall.com where you can see all the past episodes. There'll be much more coming soon with show notes similar to Eden Fractal show notes. And I've been making cool thumbnails and hosting some great conversations. In the past few weeks, we talked about the Art Fractal that Eric Westrick has been hosting. He's doing a new fractal where people are contributing in a local art community to help promote art and make the world better through art. I'll share the link in the chat now so you can check that out. And then we also talked with Gabriel, who's been building a awesome place in Mexico, Camazotes, a regen living haven. And we talked with Haifa team. We talked with Joaquin from Haifa, and then some chief delegates after the election. So check out the Eden Creators YouTube channel and the town halls to learn more. Thank you for the opportunity to share it. And yeah, the Creator Talk and the Eden Fractal and all those other things. Hope you all enjoyed them. Also, Patrick mentioned too, we have an Eden Fractal update number 5 coming out soon, and the Antelope Swiss Workshop with more updates too, as well as brainstorming sessions. So thank you very much, and hope you enjoy.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I just want to jump in and say thank you very much to Dancing Joy for the Eden Fractal of today. That was the best one, very well moderated. I have never seen a workshop or let's say people able to work like this. I am since June in it, and I can say exactly how it is going. So today that was the beginning of a good adventure that we will have. We have processes there, very well crafted, deterministic, that led the people to behave into the perimeter of those processes. That's very encouraging for Eden on EOS also going more and more in a sandboxing way. I repeat. And yeah, so I encourage the people to join the Hidden Fractal meeting. That's on the Wednesday at 1600 UTC. And we have also brainstorming session every 2 weeks on the Tuesday at 1600 UTC. The next one is for next Tuesday. And there we are diving into the complexity of the proposal to decomplexify the complexity. That's the goal. And very happy to be with all those great minds that we have into Hidden Fractal, and that's upgrade your mindset when you are joining those meetings. So open your mind and press the reset button. Thank you.
Stick to the mission.
Stick to the mission. Thank you very much, Patrick. And yeah, I'll just repeat that one thing Patrick said. I invite everybody, encourage everybody to join Eden Fractal meetings. They're super fun. We meet every Wednesday. We start the Eden plus Fractal breakout rooms at 16 UTC, but we meet at 15:30 UTC, so a half hour early. And then we have another hour scheduled afterwards for agendas, which is community agendas, where we discuss proposals and topics and so forth. So, and then sometimes we talk a bit after, but you don't have to stay for the full time. You can just come for however much time. If you want to just stop by and say hello, the links are in the Eden members chat and the Eden on EOS chat usually. And also I'll share a link to the Telegram group for Eden Fractal at t.me/Eden Fractal. And yeah, you're welcome to join for just the first hour, or if you want to just join and say hello ever. We're very happy to have new people, and we meet every Wednesday. And you can also learn more at edenfractal.com. So thank you, Patrick, and thank you very much, everybody. Go EOS.
Knowledge is life.
Absolutely. And to Patnova Joy, I am no more Patnova Joy. I am Patnova Bat. Thank you.
Humans are so human.
I am the Batman.
Patrick, my friend, your audio is like super low, just so you know.
I am Patnova Bat.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for that great conversation. Thanks for sharing those Eden Fractal updates to Dan and Pat Nova Bat. And yeah, thanks to everyone who submitted comments and questions through the forum. Led to a great discussion. This was really cool. I enjoyed it. And yeah, gonna give you guys a last chance for anyone to add a final comment or share something, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
One thing that I'll add real quick is Lennie just shared a link to the Eden Fractal recaps, in addition to doing the recaps for the delegate meetings and also for the Eden in general. Lennie's also been doing awesome recaps each week for the Eden Fractal. So big thank you to Lennie, and that can be an excellent way to catch up with the progress in a very quick and easy to read form. Thank you.
Okay.
Let's do this.
All right, that's it for us today. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you everyone for participating. Thanks for sharing images, spamming the emojis, jumping on the live chat, doing all the cool things that helps make this show interesting for everyone. That's it for me. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks, but next week you will have a guest host hang out with you guys. I'm sure it'll be great. And so, yeah, that's it for me. That's it for us for today. And until next week, 1, 2, 3, let's go EOS!
Go EOS!
Go EOS!